Hello, my name is Brandon Mora, and I'm on the speech class. Hopefully, by 2024, I will graduate with my process technology degree. Hello, my name is Brandon Mora, and I will explain all the chapters from 1 to 12 of the story. And overlook about the story, what is the summarize. Okay, so it's three friends in college getting together for lunch. One of the girls were fascinated. She was obsessed with her body weight. If anything, she looked fat, she'll cry, she'll be scared, and how she looked. They end up having a guest speaker and explaining how body image works or is in the world, how being fat works or being skinny. And also, she was an expert of eating disorders. Even after the whole discussion, the girl was still obsessed with her body and she was still going to the gym. Even after they explained that too much is bad for yourself. But she didn't care. This is why I chose this certain terms from the chapter. Chapter 1, noise. I chose noise because Reese, she was looking in the mirror. It makes her think she's fat. Page 53 at the bottom. Reese turned a glass into the mirror one last time and says they don't know how it feels to be fat. Only if I had Emma's figure. She's so thin and never has to wait. She eats. I'm so fat. Chapter on number 2, I choose communication. Hurry up, Reese. We're gonna be late for class. If we don't go to eat lunch now, said Emma. Charlie said, don't worry, Emma. We have plenty of time. I chose communication because they are communicating towards each other. Number 3, I chose gender from chapter 1. I chose gender because female and male has different opinions of their body. On page 58, it's everywhere cry the woman sitting beside him. You hear it from the media, from your parents, from your friends, from guys. Okay, now I'm explaining chapter 2. From chapter 2, I chose for number 1, embarrassment. On page 54, Reese stood up in front of the classroom and she heard Mary say under her breath, nice pants. Where you get them? Tens are us? I chose embarrassment because it made her feel uncomfortable. It made her feel like if they were making us a joke towards her. From chapter 2, I chose face. She makes them believe that she's fat, but she's not. On page 53, I have to make sure my hair looks good, cause nothing else does today. Explained Reese. She caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. You're fat, fat, fat. The mirror told her that. For number 3 of chapter 2, I chose self-esteem. I chose self-esteem because she was telling opinions of herself. On page 54, if only I weren't so fat, she analyzed herself. I couldn't find clothes to fit me like normal people do. For chapter 3, I chose selection. On page 55, Reese eyed the thick slice of carrot cake on Emma's plate. I chose selection because of sight. She saw the carrot cake. For number 2 of chapter 3, I chose our groupers. On page 58, there is often a difference among racial groups. African American culture, for example, seems to be more accepting of weight than European American culture. I chose our groupers because they are different cultures and they believe of different things, of how to get skinny or how to look fit. On chapter 3, I chose also stereotype. On page 57 and 58, guest speaker, if you're thin, you will have friends and people will like you. I chose stereotype because they give speaker is talking about for sure. On chapter 4, I chose emotions. On page 54, Reese glanced down at her shoes, walked to the front of the classroom, painfully shy. She dreaded having to be in front of their children. Emotion because she felt shy in front of the classroom. She felt embarrassment when she stood up in front of the classroom and present. On chapter 4, I also chose feelings. On page 59, Reese and Emma had a discussion of what Dr. Holland said. Emma shook her head sadly as she watched her best friend head towards the gym. I chose feelings because she felt that she had it to go to the gym. Seeing your friend going to the gym, knowing that she already went and made herself had a bad day, it feels bad. On number 3, on chapter 4, I chose emotions. Emotion sharing. On page 53, coming down the hall and stopping in the door to Emma and Reese dorm room. I chose emotion sharing because they are sharing the emotions together. On chapter 5, for number 1, I chose co-culture. On page 56, did you know that dieting has reached almost epidemic proportions, meaning a culture that others' culture has? For number 2, for chapter 5, I chose stereotype. On page 58, they view how culture are different when it comes with diet. For chapter 6, from the story, I chose for number 1 feedback. I chose feedback because she respond by going to the gym. On page 53, eating junk food must gain 5 pounds. I'm so fat today. I will only eat vegetables and drink water. And I have to spend 30 extra minutes that should make up for yesterday's calories. For number 2, for chapter 6, I chose attending. On page 56, Dr. Susan Holland was telling her about opinions until Reese got her attention about diet. Attending, the reason why I chose attending because the guest speaker was telling her about opinions, selections. Reese was not paying attention until she heard one opinion that it caught her attention, which was about diet. Number 3, for chapter 6, I chose selective listening. On page 55, your father, the doctor, said to ignore the equation you read in some fashion magazines. But you think he is wrong. Listening is when she listens to important things. She will only listen to important things that she cares about, which in this case is about looks, about being skinny. For chapter 7, I chose defensive communication. On page 56, you can be full already, said Charlie. You haven't eaten anything. Leave me alone, said Charlie. I choose defensive because she is arguing with her friend. She was arguing with her friend, like telling her, leave me alone. Okay. For number 2, for chapter 7, I chose verbal communication. On page 55, Jimmy John coming from her left. Boom, boom, boom. He chanted ridiculously her as she walked healthily up she seemingly endless easily. For number 3, for chapter 7, I chose I language. I don't remember where I read it, said Reese. On page 55, she's using the language I this, I that, I where. For chapter 8, I chose vocalics. On page 59, it says, don't let the thin idea run or ruin your life. Got to go, said Reese. Ignoring her friend's questions, I choose vocalics because she's choosing pitch by saying got to go. For number 2, for chapter 8, I chose mixed messages. On page 53, yeah, today's one of the Reese's fat days. Her friend was being sarcastic by saying it was one of her fat days, even though she's not fat, she's skinny. Okay. For chapter 9, I chose avoidance. I chose avoidance because in page 59, want to meet for supper then? Emma asked. No thanks, I'm going to be busy to eat tonight. I think, said Reese. Reese, come on, you have to eat, especially after you are hardly anything for lunch. No, Reese, replied firmly. If I'm going to lose weight, I have to eat less. Didn't you listen to what Dr. Holland was saying, Emma asked. Don't let the thin idea run or ruin your life. For chapter 9, I also chose resource currency. On page 53, I'm so fat. Today, I will only eat vegetables and I drink water. Resource currency because food she needs food. So that can be resource currency. For chapter 9, I also chose intimacy currency. On page 59, Emma shook her head sadly as she watched her best friend head towards the gym. What can I do to help her to get over this obsession with her weight? She's so caring about her friend. She cares for her health, for her future. Not only that moment, but how it's gonna affect her by next year. For chapter 10, for number 1, I chose liking. She's not fat. I think she's beautiful. Her friend likes something about her friend. The friend is liking something that one of the friends has. She's so beautiful. She thinks that she's not fat. So she's being supportive friend. For number 2, for chapter 10, I also chose differentiating. On page 57, 24% of women and 17% of men said they would give up more than 3 years. I can't believe anyone would willing give up years of their life to be a different way, because being different they can affect your body. Being different, being a boy and a girl, you know, you have different bodies. You react different as a guy and as a girl. Yes. Um, for chapter 10, um, I also chose bonding. On page 53, honey, you know you look gorgeous, so stop fussing and let's go. They have a bond that they can be honest to each other and play around with them towards each other. For chapter 11, I chose family. I chose family because on page 54, I can't help it. She thought that my mom makes my clothes for me. Her mom being there for her, making her clothes for her. And also for chapter 11, I also chose conformity or retention. On page 58, beauty, popularity. If you're thin, that means you have control over your life. She believes that being skinny can have a better life, which, in my opinion, I don't think so. For chapter 12, for number one, I chose friendship. Why friendship, you might ask? On page 59, hey friend, she said, want to go watch the women's field hockey game with me? The friend is being so careful, caring for her, that she's even inviting her to go to watch a game, so she can get distracted by not going to the gym instead of going to the game. But her friend Reese, she's so obsessed with her body, and she says no. I know. On chapter 2, I chose friendship rules. Didn't you listen to what Dr. Holland was saying, Emma asked. Don't let the thin idea run or ruin your life. Page 59. She's supportive and trying to help her friend. She's being supportive with her in trying to make her believe that going to the gym is not gonna help her get skinny like that. Instead, it's gonna hurt her. She's doing too much for her body, but Reese is not really caring of paying attention. For number 3, I chose value social identities. On page 58, Dr. Holland says, when the desire to be thin begins to affect your health. I chose value social identities because Dr. Holland is a teacher. She's being a teacher in a way by explaining how the diet works, how it affects, and how all the bodies will how reacts towards your body. For this will be all my chapters in from chapter 1 to 12 into the story. Hopefully you like it. Overlook over the past 16 weeks of my class, it's been great for me because it has helped me by speak more to others. I have a problem with English, so with this, it has been helpful to communicate with more people and try to focus on myself and how everything is. Uh, Over the past 16 weeks, I've been working with friends or classmates. They've been grateful with me because they have been helpful. Yes, sometimes they can be hard, but for myself, I think they were so helpful for me, and I'm so thankful for the professor and from all my classmates. There are such a great people, and hopefully I'm able to see them again in my future.